The poem that we are going to study today is The Coming Storm, which is written by W.B. Rance. W.B. Rance, or William Brightly Rance, was a British writer and one of the major authors of nursery rhymes of the Victorian era. So we are going to read the poem written by him in today's class. The Coming Storm. The poet uses the word coming storm not to describe a singular or definite description of a particular storm, but universalizes the storm as a whole, as a part of nature. The storm in English poem is a common theme. Shelley, Keats in their poem described mostly about storm, but with a purpose or symbol. But in this poem, The Coming Storm, written by W.B. Rance, you will find that at the very onset, the poet speaks us how to feel a storm and vividly describes each step, the fury of storm. Now let us slowly start reading and let us look into its explanation. Let's start. The Coming Storm, written by W.B. Rance. The treetops rustle, the treetops wave. They hustle, they rustle, and down in a cave. The winds are murmuring, ready to rave. This is the first 3 lines of your poem. See, in the first stanza, we find the wind starts blowing. See, why do we find, how do we figure it out? You see the first line, the treetops rustle, the treetops wave. So in the first stanza, we find the wind starts blowing and the treetops are shattered. But gradually in the second line, we find the low speed of the wind starts murmuring as it moves every trees and leaves as it passes on. See, they hustle, they rustle, and down in a cave. At the same time, you come across these 2 words, hustle and rustle. By now you know this is an example of onomatopoeia, meaning sound speaks the meaning, you know about it. Next, in the third line, see, the winds are murmuring, ready to rave. Can the winds murmur? Are they living being? No, but it is written here, the winds are murmuring, ready to rave. So you come across another known figure of speech, that is personification. So the wind is personified as a human who is murmuring, as if threatening the nature that this is now destructive. So I shall again repeat. In the first stanza, we find the wind starts blowing and the treetops are shattered. But gradually in the second line, we find the speed of the wind low, which starts murmuring as it moves every trees and leaves as it passes on. Then you come across the 2 words, hustle and rustle, which is an example of onomatopoeia. Then in the third line, we find another figurative expression, that is murmuring. So the wind is personified again. Because why? Human attribute is given to the innate thing. What is the innate thing? The wind is the innate thing. The sound of the wind seems as if it is threatening the nature, that it is now destructive. Now we come to the second stanza. The skies are dimming, the birds fly low. Skimming and swimming, their wings are slow. They float, they are carried, they scarcely go. Now, from the nature, poet now touches the effect of men and creature. The birds, because of the fury of the wind, are seen dimming. The motion is becoming slow. They are flying low. Why? It is because of the speed of the wind. Again, we find another example of onomatopoeia in the second line, skimming and swimming. Now, skimming and swimming, these 2 words are basically describing various movement caused due to the heavy blowing of the wind. In the third line, they float, they are carried, they scarcely go. we can see the birds barely needs to do any movement of their own, any wing movement of their own. Why? Because they are easily being carried off by the wind. So, in the second stanza, we find that from the nature, poet now touches the effect of men and creature. The birds, because of the fury of the wind, are seen dimming and flying low. In the second line, you come across an example of onomatopoeia, the two words skimming and swimming. Now, skimming and swimming, these two words are describing various movement caused due to the heavy blowing of the wind. And in the third line, we find that they float, they are carried, they scarcely go. We find that the birds barely need to do any wing movement of their own because they are easily being carried off by the wind. Now we come to the last stanza. The dead leaves hurry, the waters too, hurry and scurry as if they knew. A storm was at hand, the smoke is blue. In the third stanza, look at the first line. The dead leaves hurry, the waters too. Dead leaves hurry, waters too. Can the dead leaves hurry? Can the dead leaves run? No, right? So here we can again figure it out very easily that the dead leaves and the water is personified as if they are running. Okay? Their movement is controlled by the heavy wind, and we find the movement of leaves and water accelerated because of this particular heavy wind. Next, hurry and scurry as if they knew. Hurry and scurry, again use of onomatopoeia. Hurry and scurry symbolizes the quick movement of leaves and the water. In the last line, see, a storm was at hand, the smoke is blue. It means, now see, everything is under control. The storm was over, the sky now looks clean, and the cloud is floating. Okay, so I repeat here, the dead leaves hurry and the waters too. It is, we are seeing that the poet have used the figure of speech. Which figure of speech? Personification. So here the dead leaves and the water are personified. Their movement is seen to be accelerated because of the heavy wind. Hurry and scurry are another two onomatopoeia. These are the two words where symbolizing the use of onomatopoeia. Now hurry and scurry means their quick movement of the leaves and water. And at the end we find that the storm is under control, the sky looks clean, and the cloud floating. Now we'll start on with the question answers of the poem. I want you to keep a pen, a copy beside you, and keep taking the notes. I'm repeating the question twice for your convenience. Please keep recording. The first question: what are the different signs of the coming storm? I repeat, what are the different signs of the coming storm? You have to say which are the different signs that makes you understand that a storm is about to come. Okay, so we have the very first two lines. The tree tops rustle, the tree tops wave. So you'll quote and you'll write the sentence. The tree tops rustle and tree tops wave shows the different signs of the coming storm. Next question: what is meant by skies are dimming, and how can the dead leaves hurry? I repeat, what is meant by the skies are dimming, and how can the dead leaves hurry? You know it by now. The poet have used which figure of speech? Personification. So the dead leaves are basically personified, and even skies are personified. Okay, so the meaning that the skies are dimming, the meaning of the sentence that the skies are dimming is the skies are covered with the spreading clouds. Skies are dimming, it means that the skies are covered with the spreading clouds. Next, how can the dead leaves hurry? How can they hurry? The speed of the wind accelerates, which results in the quick movement of the leaves. I repeat, the speed of the wind accelerates, which results in the quick movement of the leaves. Now, the last question. Question number 3. The poem is very musical. Which words by the poet help to produce the musical effect? I repeat, the poem is very musical. Which words by the poet help to produce the musical effect? So you will quote unquote write the two words hustle, rustle and skimming and swimming. I repeat, hustle and rustle, then skimming and swimming. Along with this, I will also want you all to learn the poem by heart and practice it properly.